All right, welcome back. We continue right here on Pittsburgh CW. Bob Pompeani with you. Again, a reminder, #1 Cochran Sports Showdown tonight, 11:35 after the late news on KDKA. Lots of people on the line, so let's get right to it. Brad in Pittsburgh, first up tonight. Brad, go right ahead.
How you doing, man?
Good. How you doing, man?
Look like you're getting over your cold there, huh?
It's getting better, but there's still some leftover residual effects. You know how it goes.
Okay. Well, back to my boys, the Steelers, man. They keep on trying to give me a heart attack every week, man. And I'm getting tired of just wondering what they're going to be week by week. And I'm sitting here watching the New England game tonight, and them boys is looking real good as usual. But if we go in there playing like this, man, I don't think we have a chance against New England. And I'm a diehard Steelers fan, but they gotta step it up and play some O'Connor more. I think they should.
Yeah, I agree with that.
O'Connor in it. You know what I mean? So
every time he gets in there, he has some fresh legs and he gets some stuff done, Brad. And I think that's a good call on your part. Thank you for that. And you're right. You know, the one thing you don't see New England do is struggle mightily with teams they should beat. They normally put them away early. And even though the Steelers, to their credit, won this game and they are 7-2, and this is a bottom line business, you have to wonder about some of these performances because, as I said, if it was a better team out there, they would not have been able to overcome those mistakes. So they can't afford to make them on games, especially with a very small margin for error, knowing that New England has the same record as they do. And you're battling for #1 seed, which is very important in this NFL playoff system. All right, line 2, Big Will in Monroeville. What's up, Willie?
Hey, how are you?
Good, how are you?
Oh, I'm good. Hey, thanks for taking my call as always. I just wanted to ask you a question about the game today. Do you think possibly the Steelers were looking forward to Thursday and just thought they could show up and win this one?
Yes. I mean, I don't know how else to explain the first half. How do you explain it? They obviously
thinking the exact same thing.
They look like the bye week extended to today, and they weren't sure when it ended. And that's not the way you want to play those games. And we had a debate on the post-game show about whose responsibility. Ultimately, it's Mike Tomlin's. He's over top. But at the same time, I mean, he tells those guys to be aware of this stuff, to don't fall into these traps. I mean, I've heard it. People over there hear it all the time. It's players have got to just live it, too. They can't just, okay, yeah, fine, that's it, and go out. I mean, these are professional guys who are being paid for a living. They have to come out and do better. But it is epidemic in the National Football League, Will. You see it with a lot of different teams.
Now, do you see that? Now, would this be defined as a trap game?
Yeah, I guess, but the bottom line is it should not have been. They needed to not go all the way to the end of this game before it was determined, because you're playing with fire, and one loss like that we've already seen can hurt you. They can't afford to do it. So thanks, man. Appreciate the call.
Thank you, man.
All right, let's go out to line 5. That's Al in the West End. Al, go ahead.
Hey, Bob, how you doing?
Good. Thank you for calling.
Hey, thank you. Real quick before my point, top 4, Miami, Alabama, Wisconsin, and Oklahoma.
Wait a minute. Is that the order?
Yes.
You're putting Miami #1.
Alabama, other than Mississippi State, has played nobody. Miami, the last 2 weeks, has beaten 2 top 15 teams and beaten them badly.
Okay, well, I will disagree with Alabama's played nobody. I think the SEC is a very competitive, especially on the road, place to play. Let me ask you this, and you answer this question, and what you think, honestly, the committee will do. If you had a one-loss Alabama team and an undefeated Wisconsin team, which one of those 2 teams will you put in if it came down to a choice between the 2?
Did Alabama win their conference in your scenario?
I mean, one loss could be they won the conference, lost in the championship game, or they lose to Auburn in the final game and never get to the conference championship game.
Then I put in Wisconsin.
Even though Wisconsin has one of the worst non-conference schedules of anyone in the Big Ten.
To me, if you win your conference championship, you're undefeated. Penn State got hosed last year, but this time Wisconsin's undefeated. You got to take a conference champion over a one-loss team.
I disagree. I think they're going to do differently. I think they're going to give Alabama the credit that they've had over the years and the credibility that comes with their program. I just do. Anyway, what's your Steeler question?
I hope people understand and realize how big this Joe Hayden loss is. He's been avoided all season. When you play a better quarterback like an Alex Smith and a Tom Brady, it's going to show. This is a huge loss.
Yeah, well, hopefully it's not season-ending. We don't know that for sure. And if it's 6 to 8 weeks, that takes you into precarious territory there. So, I agree with you. It's a big loss because he's been good, and people don't even throw in his direction, which is a luxury they haven't had in quite some time. Thanks, man. Appreciate it. Let's go out to Cam in Mount Pleasant. What's up, Cam? How are you doing?
Good, Bob. How are you?
Good. If you have a top 4, what would they be?
No. This has nothing to do with any of that.
Okay.
This is about the Steelers today. The left tackle, every time he stands up and looks back at Ben, and then he gets down in his stance, as soon as he hits his stance...
You're talking about left guard. You're talking about Ramon Foster?
Yeah, well, they center the ball. So if I know that in my living room, I mean, I'm sure the other team got to know that they're going to snap the ball right then. I mean, we don't have no cadence or different thing.
Well, more than anything else, thank you for the call. I still find it difficult to believe, and I've tweeted this throughout the game because I do it every week, you never see the no-huddle offense. They practice it. They're good at it. I don't know if there's a divide between offensive coordinator and quarterback here about when to use it, how to use it, should they use it. But I get the feeling that they're better off sometimes coming out doing it, not just when you would expect it to happen. And you very seldom see the no-huddle offense, and I think they're effective at it. I think they're good at it. And I wonder why it's just not called very often. Let's go to Tom in West Middlesex. Is that where you are?
Yep, Bob.
Okay.
How are you doing today?
Good. How are you doing?
I'm doing well. Hey, we were promised this offense was going to get us 30 points a game.
Yeah,
when
I
is
know.
that going to happen?
I believed it too, but it hasn't happened.
Yep. Maybe Martavius was right. Maybe if they throw to him more, then that he would get more points.
Well, I think it is encouraging, thanks for the call, Tom, that we saw success in his direction today. The two-point conversion was a good catch, difficult one to make. I thought the third down conversion that he made, that he got out to the outside, they used him more. They're going to need to. Juju Smith-Schuster is a factor because guys are doubling Antonio Brown. They need various targets to be available, and I think that's encouraging moving forward. They need to do more of it. Eli Rogers has not been a contributor at all, and I thought he would be this year. So essentially after the top two, there's a lot of question marks, and I didn't see that being the case at the beginning of the season, which is one of the reasons why they've not gotten to 30 points on an average, not even close. In fact, they're dead last in red zone proficiency when it comes to touchdowns, and I wouldn't expect it from that team. On top of that, Le'Veon Bell has been up and down. He's had some really good games. I thought today, not so much. Which is why I'd like to see James Conner a little bit more. I don't know why he doesn't have more of a role, not just one carry every other game. Let's go to Mike in Arlington. Hey, Mike, how you doing?
Hey, Bob, how's it going?
Good. What's up?
The reason why I was calling was just about what you were talking about. We're supposed to be scoring 30 points a game. Seems like we're struggling just to score a few points. It looks like Ben's not. It just doesn't look like he's like yourself. Also, I don't know if it's the tint on my TV, but I'm loving the red hair.
Red? That's your TV. I don't know. There must be something wrong with the pixels in your set. Thanks for the call. 412-575-2600. With regard to Ben Roethlisberger, well, you know, he is 35, and I don't think he's the same as he was a few years ago, but he's still effective. And I think even though he's been off target a lot, especially when it comes to down the field, overthrowing some guys from time to time, I think when he's had to make plays, he's been able to make plays to win games. And today we saw one to Antonio Brown, which was a throwback to his vintage Ben Roethlisberger days, where he had to elude the pocket. There was a guy draped on him, ready to rip his shirt off, and he still hung in there, put it to Antonio, who gained 30 yards. And a very big play on that game-winning field goal drive. So, you know, that's just the way it is right now in the course of a 35, soon-to-be 36-year-old quarterback. I mean, people look at, you know, guys like Brady. He's one of those rare exceptions that you see still capable at his age to keep playing at a level that you wouldn't expect that to happen. So, still, Ben Roethlisberger can make plays. He has made them. He's not been as consistent, and I think that's the one thing he would probably tell you. He thought he overthrew Vance McDonald when he was wide open. But as it turned out, it was fine. It was a touchdown and a big one at that. We'll take a break. Brad, Rich, Connie, and Jim all coming up next right here live on Pittsburgh CW.